all day. But it was well worth it. Makes a phenomenal folks. I mean, it was just amazing the level of talent that got pulled in. It's just kind of like, wow. We had one guy, it's like, man, I wish we known about you when we had an opening for the county a while back, because you would have fit in there like a glove, right? But, so, it always pays dividends later on.
That's so cute. He's gonna love it. Yes, an outside chair.
Hey, how are you? Good. Your family's well?
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, glad to see you. I'm Trina. This is my husband, Chris.
These are so good.
Sorry?
These are so good. Ella did a fantastic job.
Probably Wednesday, so there's some things that each don't want discussed. So Wednesday, Ella and I are gonna go down and figure those out, get those topics that they want to discuss.
Mark, are you sure you
Yeah.
wanna do that
Yeah.
without, you're okay?
Um,
I feel like I just handed something off to you.
yeah, that's it.
You're good?
That's it. And then I'll share that with Dalton as well.
Okay. The week, well, let Ella and I'll let Dalton know too. I told Ella, they feel like we need to meet the week of. But also, I'm not trying to put another meeting on anybody's agenda if they don't want it. At least we're on this side. Yes. Yes. And that didn't really come out. So I'm trying to over it, except when I go somewhere that I feel like. But. I'm almost here.
You're trying to get that started? You not know what you're making?
You are so right, but I just want to get my voice.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mark, do you mind giving an invocation? After the invocation, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, just want to thank you for another day that you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to gather together to do the business for the city. And we're just ask that you go before us in this meeting and give us discernment to make decisions what's best for the citizens. We give you all the praise and glory. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So, second.
I got a motion and second. All in favor? It's unanimous for. Okay, I am skipping down to, do we have citizens' comments? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Gray. Don't live in the city, so I appreciate the opportunity to address you guys. I just wanted to bring up the agenda item about the sewer fees. Because I bought, and when I bought my house, it was already sewer, so it is what it is. And I went into it knowing the impact. However, my dad, sorry, is that me?
It's Sarah.
Okay, sorry. But my dad, he was one of the citizens that you guys were talking about in your work session. Lived in his house since the 70s and had sewers ran through the neighborhood and paid sewer fees for years, actually. And then finally his septic tank had went out. And contrary to what was said earlier, I talked with Brian Trundle, and if your house is within 200 feet, or your property actually is within 200 feet of the sewer line, they will not issue a permit to repair your septic tank, regardless of the cost. You'll have to hook into the sewer.
Excuse me,
Yes.
it's in the county
Mhm.
or the city? Okay, all right.
And so, and it's a large expense, $10,000.
Is this in Meadow Green?
And so anyways, when it came time to hook into the sewer, I don't know if he called it the City of Ringgold or the water company, but he was like, okay, well, what about all this money I paid you guys over the years, the hundreds of dollars? You know, can I use it to go toward my hookup fee? No. So he says, so I've been paying for a service for years and I've gotten nothing in return. And he's, yes. He goes, well, I call that theft. And it is, because there's no other utility in the county that runs by your house they have to pay if you don't use. Sorry, I'm nervous. But the thing is listening upstairs, I know you guys have to have the bond rating and all that, revenues. To me, it seems like our rates may be artificially low because you're, getting this extra money from people who don't use it. So maybe the fees have to be increased. And therefore, people who don't use it just don't pay for it. I mean, no one can name another utility, RTC, even the electric company, that if they run by your house and you don't use it, you don't pay. And they all have costs associated with installing the power poles and everything. So that's my 2 cents. Glad I made it.
Yeah,
Didn't pass
thanks
out.
for, yeah, thank you, yeah.
All right, thanks.
And I was gonna, oh, Nick, go ahead, sorry.
So I want to say the same here. I mean, listening to the work session upstairs, Jake, I have insurance. Everyone has insurance because it's mandated by the state that you got to have it, like someone said, to protect another individual. But I don't have a motorcycle. Does that mean I need to get motorcycle insurance? Because someone may have one that drops out of the sky into my yard one day, or that lives 200 feet away from me. I mean, that's not fair, right? Same way with the sewage. I mean, if you've got a utility that you're not using, that's not even there, and as this gentleman just said, all this money that these residents are paying in, right? This $15 a month that they're paying in.
Actually, almost 16. Now 16, 14.
So it went up. It went up.
It used to be 20 something. It's
Well,
gone
Doesn't
down.
matter, it's still something for nothing.
well, the thing is that it's still a utility that's not being used by a citizen. And I know that you guys got budget shortfall here with this, with the $75,000 that's been coming in on this. But with that, you also up there are contemplating, Earl, in raising your membership to the chamber. That's money. I found that a little bit insulting.
If you don't mind just directing your comments to the chair.
I'm sorry.
You can say exactly what
I'm
you need
sorry.
to. No, that's
Yeah.
okay, it's just our procedure.
Yeah,
It's okay.
but that was kind of disheartening for me to hear. Contemplating raising your membership to something whenever there's people that's in your community. And Nick, one of the other members had said something about they're not in our city, so we don't represent them. I found that kind of same thing. These are still people. They are people just like us. And they are going through issues that we may or may not know or understand. But we have to abide by what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Because otherwise, we're failing. We're failing.
And if I could make one comment.
Well, I will just say a couple things real quick. Oh, are you done, Nick? I'm
I
sorry.
am, thank you.
Okay, yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. So the conversation upstairs ranged between an exemption for hardship and a full exemption. So I think that we are on the right track when you talk about people who are suffering. And so, that was the range of conversation we had upstairs. It's ranging from either we're going to make exemptions for hardships to people who just are struggling to make this payment to a full exemption. And I anticipate us dealing with this. We have our retreat coming up this month. So we canceled our next meeting. And so when we come back, I anticipate us tabling this and putting it on our next meeting. Because we're just working out to keep the bond above. we have to have 120% of revenue based on our expenses to keep our bond rating. And so I see the look, oh, still working that out, huh? And I get it, and I understand people are still paying all in the meantime when we're figuring this out. But that's where the conversation is, ranging between exemptions for hardships to full exemptions, and I feel like we're going to probably have a consensus come our next meeting. Can I get a motion to table until then?
Actually, I would like to speak also.
Oh, you can please, yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, that's right, we're in citizens' comments. That's right, my bad.
I'm a little short here. First, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. My name is Denise Winter. I live off of Wooten Road. My husband, which was disabled, myself and my 3 daughters moved here July of 2018. Within 4 years, 2.5 years actually, I lost him to COVID. My financial world was turned upside down. He always paid the bills, and I balanced the checkbook, which is why it's taken this long to find what's been going on with sewer bills. I, too, am on septic, and I saw a sewer charge. I went down to CUDA, said, hey, was this a clerical error? And I found my original contract when we bought the house. Nowhere does it say that I'm paying for sewer, knowing I only have septic. I have reached out to them. I asked them, why was I paying that money? And they said, well, we give it to you at a reduced rate. I said, ma'am, I don't have sewer. Thank you for the reduced rate, but I had to ask for twice. Based upon my water usage, what would my bill have been? I had to ask her twice. She finally gave me the answer. I said, so it's 50%. So one of the things I'm perplexed over is that it went from $15.90 to $16.14. And yes, I'm grateful it's not 20. Because being charged for nothing and then seeing an increase, I don't understand the mentality of, like right now, Waffle House is charging extra for eggs. I get it. I understand it. You're already charging me for something I'm not getting, and now you're asking me to pay even more. I'm a widow of 4.5 years. I worked for 2 county schools as a special education bus monitor. There's not a lot I pay there. I do it because I love my job. I love my kids. We've adopted 6 children from the state we were in before. We're all about kids. And I spoke to you the other day, Mr. Can I direct that to?
You can say you
well, you said not to direct that to people. And I had asked, why was it not taken off the bill? And you said you were figuring out how to recoup your loss. And I believe my exact words were to you, is that I did not mean to offend you. I did not mean to respect you in any way, but that it was not a loss to you or anybody here. It was to me and anyone else who's paying this. I get that you need to pay for the lines, but in 6.5 years, I've spent $1,200 on nothing. I do not throw money out the window. And I'm being asked to do that every month. And it's actually painstaking to take $16.14 and throw it out the window every day or every month. I work hard for what I have. And like I said, my financial world was turned completely around, which is why I started cutting things out of my budget. I haven't had cable in 4.5 years because I had to cut things back. That's why I started looking through my finances and getting rid of things I couldn't afford. I struggled. I'm making it, but there's no room for much. So I don't understand. I understand you need to find that money back in your budget and your bonds and all that. But to say that you have to figure out your loss, it's not your loss. It's mine, it's his, it's hers, and all the other homeowners. We're being asked to pay something like we all pay school taxes. I get it. I don't have any children into school. I'm from another state. They've never spent a day in a Georgia school, but I still pay that tax. So why am I paying a fee for something I can't afford? I mean, if I'd had all that money all that time, who knows? I could have put it in an investment that was a high risk and made enough money to hire a plumber. And then even if I ever do get the money to do that, as this gentleman talked about, I now have to tap on and pay a tap on fee. To me, that's adding insult to injury. And I don't understand that. And I did ask her to let me know, but she didn't tell me we were having a meeting tonight.
And we know.
You did not?
I did.
So I appreciate your honesty. But,
You're off
again,
Wooten Road. Are you in Meadow Green too?
I'm sorry?
That was me. Are you in Meadow Green too? You said you're
No,
Wooten
I'm
Road.
off of Wooten Road,
Oh, you're off Wooten Road.
41 and Wooten.
Oh, so right off Wooten Road. You live on Wooten.
Yeah, I'm first home at the bottom of the hill.
Okay. Yeah.
And, I appreciate again the time.
Yes.
And I hope you, I would say in the future, maybe we need to include that in our paperwork, because this is a binding contract. Yes, it was signed by my husband, but I'm a homeowner too. Nowhere does it say that here. I know he didn't realize it, because I didn't.
Okay. And she was just for the record. Did you need her name, Nikki?
Spell her last name.
Last
With two N's, like not a loser, W-I-N-N-E-R.
Thank you. I just didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have not said it out
No,
loud.
you did. I just didn't hear you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Was there anyone else here for citizens' comments? Please, yes. And our procedure is just name and address is how we normally introduce ourselves at the meetings.
I'm Chris Willingham. I live at 37 Lisa Drive down here in Ringgold. It's off of 3 Notch Road. She pretty much said everything. Me and my wife Trina, we're empty nesters, one income family. $16.14. She's right. There you go. I didn't understand it either, so I talked to a few people about it, and I think somebody had mentioned, it's maintenance for the lines. And I said, maintenance for the line? I said, I don't ever see nobody out here doing anything in the roads or anything. It's kind of similar to, I think the only cable company you can get where I'm at is Spectrum. I don't have Spectrum, and they don't charge me a fee monthly for, it's maintenance for our lines. I'm kind of in the same boat that Splinters is too, so I just wanted to come up here and make sure me and my wife were heard while we were here too. I thank y'all for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to go to report on committees and departments. Do I have a CBB report, Earl? Is there one of those today?
Well, I want to, before we move on.
Well, we're going to come to that item.
Okay,
If you want to just
okay.
look at let's do that then when we get to the item.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it then. Do you have anything for the CBB?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And we are at the item here. So can I get a motion to suspend the rules if somebody wants to say something so that somebody wants to?
So moved. Second.
Second, I think Sarah's stuck in there for the second.
Second,
Nikki. All in favor? It's unanimous. Forward. Go ahead, Earl.
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, Jake, go ahead.
Jay can go ahead.
Well, I know people don't understand, and I'm all about not paying any extra charge. I know people can't afford it. That's why I mentioned Sarah about hardship. For her specific case, for reasons like that, and you can't afford it. But as far as maintenance on the line, sometimes it's not somebody out there inspecting. It's somebody locating that line. Say you're putting your neighbor's putting a water line across the street. Somebody's got to come out there and locate that and mark it. Somebody's got to mow those lines. So there's a little bit more than just actual upkeep. And they do tests on the lines, make sure that water's not getting in the lines as well. But, if we stop charging that charge, it's like $70,000. And I didn't realize till today it was a $60,000 shortfall we already had. So that puts it up, 160, 120, 130, somewhere in there. But anyway, so that means everybody that's connected to that sewer is going to go up to 7.6 charge. It's kind of like insurance policy. And I know he don't understand it. If you got a motorcycle dropped and you're all down the sky, you did well. But anyway, it's like insurance policy. You hope not to use it, but when your septic line backs up, it's available to you. It does make your property value go up to have that property line there. It makes density. Your sewer's backing up on your neighbor's yard. I talked to a gentleman today. He can't flush his commode no more than 5 times a day and do 1 load of laundry week, he would love the option to have that sewer line run in front of his house. But that's never gonna happen. Where he lives is out in the country, it's not gonna happen. Once I seen this on the agenda, I started questioning people and asking, yes, there are a few people. That's why I mentioned to Sarah, let's do a hardship and help those people out. I do understand, it's a cost. But the City of Ringgold, we didn't put this on the books. When the county give us these sewer lines, this charge was already put on there.
Yeah, we adopted the policy.
We adopted the policy. So we're not the one that created this policy. But we have to come up with the money to continue paying this on. Is it right for the people that's on that sewer to come up with, 7.5%? Not really. I understand what you're saying. Maybe we're charging too little anyway. I don't know. But we're going to discuss it at retreat, and we're going to all go in there and talk about it. I mean, I want to help people. That's why I'm on the city council, to help people, not to hurt people. But that's why I want some kind of hardship for people, older, disabled, somebody that perfect. I mean, I told Sarah, I said somebody that husband passed away or wife's passed away and they got children and just can't pay this cost. So that's my belief, and I know we're on different sides of the thing here, but I'm not going to change my view. I'm not going to change my view on this. The city needs to be able to pay this cost right here to keep our bond rating up. It's not that big of a cost, and I'm sorry.
It may not be big to you or this to me.
And I think that we have very strong disagreement on the board.
I know,
and we are not. Yeah,
I feel like
we're
since
not-
you went through that long spiel, I'm gonna go through
I mean-
a 20-second spiel.
My name got called out. Did yours?
Okay, it's my turn.
Yeah.
I don't think that we should be charging
Go ahead,
it.
Rhonda, go ahead.
I don't think we should be charging it. And I'm sorry, I feel like this is a big problem, not just the City of Ringgold is dealing with. It's a sewer problem that's tied back to Chattanooga, who dumped doo-doo in the river and now they're paying the fees for it. We need some state level people to step in and help this 100% of the City of Ringgold, 100% of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, and parts of Walker County. So let's get some help to all of those to figure out how we can stop charging people who aren't getting sewer, but yet not raise the cost on our citizens. Somehow we have to figure that out. And between all of us, we should be able to come up with something.
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Kelly.
it's hard for me to stay quiet, but I like to say, I'm gonna steal Ron's line, I thought you were gonna say it, is that we truly do hear you. We really do. I know this is year 8 for me on the council, and I think the first year I brought up these questions about, because I had family members that were paying sewer. And they were in the fortunate spot because on the south side of town, they didn't use CUDA, they used adult utilities, so they could just not pay it. And they just not paid it. And there was no, because there was no, but I still don't think it was right for them to be paying. I didn't think that then. I was new on the council, was kind of told, there's nothing you do about it, and didn't think much more about it. I also say, Nick, about the chamber thing, regardless of how that pans out, that's tourism dollars that can't be spent on duty. Just say that. But back on talk, I will tell you, to the folks here that have to deal with this, is I know I'll speak for myself. I know there are others on the board that are committed to eliminating the fee. I understand there can be justifications either way, and I'm not saying it has to be done today, but for me personally, regardless of hardship or any other reason, I'm just on principle alone, I don't think it's right to pay for a service you do not use.
Amen.
That's just the way that I believe. And perhaps we didn't initiate the policy, as Billy Joel said, we didn't start the fire. But that doesn't mean we can't right what I believe to be wrong. And maybe coming out, our retreat literally is in a couple of weeks, maybe coming out of that while we're trying to figure out how we can make up the $130,000 and $20 or whatever it is in revenue lost. Part of that's already kind of been mitigated, but while we're trying to figure that out, can we put a hardship policy in place in the meantime for situations that warrant it? Because to me, I don't want to say, I said it upstairs, I just don't want to create another policy of, now I got to come down and justify I have a hardship because of X, Y, Z, and blah, blah, blah. I just, to me personally, I just don't want to, I don't think we need it. So, but I will be quiet now, but to me, I am personally committed to bringing it up as much as humanly possible until something is done. Or at the very least, until this body is brought to a vote up or down on it. If we decide to table it tonight, we table it tonight, and that's fine. But coming back from retreat, I think earlier, just somebody said, come back from retreat, we'll have, in our next meeting, I think it might have been Mayor, have an answer of some sort. And I would be at that time, if we can't make a decision up or down when we come back, which we probably won't be able to, I'm all in favor for Councilwoman Clark's idea of some sort of hardship in the meantime or something like that, not to make that the full-time policy, but.
And
Please,
Mr.
Sarah,
Mayor,
yes.
if I could make a comment, I fought for this, what you're fighting for right now in 2016. And the reason I know how much it was is because I had to compromise and I got it down to what it was when it was $15. And so I think that what we really need to look at and as a council and figure out is everything you do, there's a repercussion. There's an answer, there's something that happens with every action, there's a reaction. And we need to look at if we cut this, which I don't think any of us want to charge our people more than necessary, but what happens? And there are a number of things on the reaction side, and we got to figure out how to fix those before we can just take an action and then have a reaction that we're going to have to deal with, that we'll have more people than you sitting in the room with the reaction. And we cannot, if this is an enterprise fund, we can't just take money from somewhere else and put it in sewer. That's not how the sewer fund actually works for the city. So but I promise you that we're gonna look at it, we're gonna try to work it out, we're gonna try to give people at least an option for the hardship cases, and not an option that you have to come in this building. What I don't like to see is people that have to come in this building and beg to get something done. That's why we need a policy. We need a policy, we need criteria, we need to say if you meet this criteria, you get an exemption from this fee. And we need to make it like that so that it applies to anybody that meets the criteria, and we're not singling people out and saying, oh no, she can't do it, but I'm not for that. I'm thinking equity across the board. So I think we are working on this. It's not that we have not looked at it in the past. It's that we have the reactions financially for this city to work out while we're working out. And we have that with every problem. Every problem that there's a short-term solution, and then you get hit with what happens after. And so we are looking at how can we, if not make it a long-term solution, make it a stopgap until we maybe convince the county that they need to kick in more money for the residents that don't live in the city of Ringgold, that live outside, that live in the county. How do we help that? And maybe the county has part of a solution as well. So it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Can I please?
Earl? Yes, please.
Okay. So this is hard. I want everybody to understand. This is hard. Now, and I'm asking for grace. I am truly sitting here right now, and I am asking for grace. Because you sit here and you look at us, and this is weight. This is a lot of weight on what? 5 people, 6 people up here in this city? We're asking for grace. I understand I think it was said it's $16.14 a month. That times 12 is $193.68 a year. It's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, we're asking for a little grace. Because, and I'm going to say this and say it out loud, please, I don't want to fight this battle on Facebook. Nobody wins when this just goes out there on social media. Please don't do that. I am asking for grace. Now, there's two sides to this. And I want everybody to understand that there are two sides to this. And yes, we could vote on it tonight and say, we're not going to do that anymore. That's kind of like one of you guys losing your job, because then you've taken that amount of income out of the family. So we have to think through this. Again, I'll go back. Just show us a little grace. That's all I'm asking. But please, we don't want to fight this battle on Facebook. Nobody wins if this goes out on social media. Nobody wins. Thank you.
Except me, who doesn't look at social media.
Yeah, sure, I mean, that's scenario.
May I ask a
And,
question?
and I was just gonna say one more thing real quick. We've got, well, I kind of need to move on, but I don't want to come in, but I want to hear as much as we can.
Oh, it's a simple
Can I get a
question.
motion to suspend the rules for a quick question?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
We already-
Yeah, well,
We're still suspended. Please do. Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to know how many years have we been collecting money for service for people who aren't getting it? How many years have we been doing this?
It's been.
I don't have the answer to that, so
This has been since before I was on the council, I guess.
Right,
I've been
so
on the
when?
council.
Mark will know, because it was, I believe, attached to the agreement that none of us made with Catoosa County.
I would say over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's all I can say about that. Wow. And like I said, I can show you the contract with CUDA that I signed, or my husband passed signed. Nowhere does it explain that to me. And I'm from out of state.
Right.
I would not have known that.
We're not CUDA.
No, I'm saying, why is it not on there?
We're not, that's them. We aren't.
Oh, well, they told me that I had to contact, they hadn't heard anything from the city council when I asked about why it was still on our bill. I have no reason to lie to you.
No, I'm sure you did, but they're a different entity. But they may be connected to the same contract that we have with the county that predates any of us. I don't know. They probably are.
Yes,
connected
it's all,
somehow.
yeah, because we provide sewer, so, yeah.
The last time I looked into it a couple years ago, I thought that I found it was 20 plus years. I can't remember where I got that info from, but I remember thinking, wow, look how many
And I want to
years.
say 02 or 03, but I wasn't even living here then, so.
At one point, we were in an agreement with CUDA. They charge for the sewer fees and they send them to us at one point. So I don't know if you come here directly and pay them. I know some people.
No, I go to
directly,
CUDA.
yeah. So we were in an agreement with them. They collect the fees and send them to the City of Ringgold. That's how we used to have an agreement. Now, that's when I first came on board in 2014. So I don't know if it's changed or not, you know. And I want to work with people. I understand these problems, but we still got to come up with the money somewhere. And when we go to retreat, hopefully we'll work it out for everybody's.
All I asked is to think about when I heard your loss. I get it. I'm not an uneducated person. I'm almost 60 years old. I get what you're saying, but you gotta look it through my eyes.
And I want to tell you, I want to know, not tonight, because we do have to move on, but if CUDA charges you and sends us the bill, what CUDA charges, who?
Just utility charges, and then they send us the revenue paid from that bill.
Okay, we may not be your answer. I don't care what they told you.
Miss-
But if,
Yeah.
but if
Miss-
you're paying CUDA and they simply send us, do we decide the money?
We select the rate, so I have to notify Catoosa Utility of the rate that individual is to be
That's how it was
charged.
explained to me.
So, and I think she's referring to recent, when you spoke to Catoosa Utility about recent changes to the minimum bill.
Well, I also contacted him a couple years ago actually 4 years ago when he passed away, because like I said, I went through my utilities and I thought it was a clerical error because I didn't understand that I was being charged for something I wasn't getting.
Mr. Marybell, I believe they haven't received that information because this body hasn't made that decision at that time. Is the reason she got the answer that she did.
All right, thank you for your extra time.
Thank you very much, yes, absolutely.
I've just got one more thing.
And
I
please,
just
please,
gotta
Nick,
say
yeah,
this.
come on,
I just
yeah.
gotta say this.
Here's one of the things, Mr. Gilmore had said that his family had the same issue one time, but it was different because of the utility and the water company were different in Dalton, in Whitfield County. This is tied to their water bill. So if they choose to protest and say, I'm not gonna pay this anymore, they get their water shut off, okay?
Yeah, the example. he
So if
gave
you
was
wanna
like
send them a bill that they don't wanna pay and then do something to civilly file it, to go through a court to get it, okay, but take it off their water bill. And then send them a separate bill for $15 or whatever, and let them pay it that way. And then they can choose to protest if they want.
Thank you. I know that we have a concern about being able to, so like with Meadow Green subdivision, and I know that they had a lot of sewers that were starting to fail. That happened eventually to your father's place. It almost makes it cost prohibitive to go into an old neighborhood with failing sewer or septic tanks. So that's another thing that we're thinking about as we go through, because these neighborhoods are going to need it eventually, just like Meadow Green needed it, and Rogers. Well, there's a lot of examples, and so, but like I said, upstairs the conversation ranged from exemptions for hardship all the way to full exemption. I think we're on the right track, and I think that we're going to figure this out. Our first meeting in March. It's not going so.
So
Yeah, please.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this
To the first meeting in March.
and to the first meeting in March, and we'll have discussion at the retreat.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? It's unanimous for. Thank you all so much. You're welcome to stay, and you're welcome to file out now if you want to. You don't feel like you have to stay, but you're more than welcome to.
But please come back to the first meeting in March.
What days?
March 10th.
10.
Please come back.
Okay, so we have new business on item A, large trucks turning onto High Street off Spark Street. Earl?
Yes, it's not it happened a couple of weeks ago, and it's not the first time it's happened. I've been contacted by citizens in Ringgold since I live in that area, and I would like to make a motion that we put in a couple of towels and fill in that corner and make a larger turn radius, I guess would be the way to state that.
Did you say where it was?
I'm sorry, it's on Sparks Street and High Street, right there at the corner of Sparks and High Street.
Yeah, on the stop sign side.
On the stop sign side, and it's right there just on the road that the school is on, so
Yeah,
when the truck goes in there, it blocks the.
Second.
Okay, motion. Yeah, motion and second. Kelly, second. Questions or comments? All in favor? It's unanimous for. Chamber of Commerce level of support, Earl?
Yes, so the chamber stuff is funded by the CVB, which is Convention Visitors and Bureau, which is tourism dollars. So I wanna make sure that is understood. It's a whole different pot of money. It has nothing to do with sewer and water and all that kind of stuff. It comes from taxes. It's what it comes from for people that stay in the hotels. That's where this money comes from. It does not come from the citizens of Ringgold. So when people travels up and down 75, they decide to get up in Ringgold and they stay in the hotel, they pay that tax. And that's where that money comes from. So we're looking at wanting to go up, provide our chamber with more to draw in more tourism dollars to the city of Ringgold.
Okay, and you were really just talking about it. You're perhaps going to make the recommendation to convention and visitors.
Yes, to the Convention and Visitors Bureau that we.
Okay, and I appreciate you bringing that to us
Yes.
first. And
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's a worthwhile thing for the Convention and Visitors Bureau to
Yes.
look at. I guess we need any action.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. First reading ordinance number 2025-0224, towing warrant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On page 19 and 20, you'll find the draft ordinance for its first reading. This is to update the tow rates within the City of Ringgold. This draft is identical to that found at the Catoosa County Sheriff's Office and their recent update. And it's really just to make it easier, actually update the cost that they're able to make revenue off of for that service, but it's also easier for our staff to manage by implementing that single rate through that. So we do request approval for this amended ordinance.
Can I get a motion to approve the first reading?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and second. Questions or comments? All in favor? It's unanimous.
And did you say towing? Did I miss?
Yes. So the renewal for the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit Interagency Agreement for the Child Advocacy Center, Mark?
Thanks, sir. This agreement serves as standard operating procedures between our police department when actively working in a case with a minor that's involved with the C.S.I. We do request your approval on this MOU, or is it? Yeah, it's just an agreement.
Sure. Can I get a motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
I got a motion and second.
Sarah.
I think.
Sarah.
No, it was Rhonda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was Rhonda. Yeah. All in favor? It's unanimous one. Item E, consider renewal for memorandum of understandings for the Sexual Victims Advocacy Center. Mark?
Sir, this is much like the previous agreement, only with the Sexual Assault Victims Advocacy Center.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? It's unanimous four. I'll just quickly say the work that those two organizations provide is very important for our community, and we all appreciate them very much. Mark, please.
Yes. Really only one thing. Last week we completed one of many tasks related to our joint comprehensive plan with that update coming up in 2026. The SWOT analysis for all of the departments, with the exception of transportation and public safety, which we'll get to those hopefully next week if I can find some time. But I'll just say this: the individuals that are serving as those stakeholders for that are amazing. They have a lot of buy-in into the community. They have a lot of knowledge of our community, and they look at what we're discussing to implement or to place into that comprehensive plan to make our city better, and not just our city, but would have joint our county as well. They're adding a lot to the value of what that strong planning document that we have as a whole. So I appreciate them and the time that they've all provided to come in, including Mr. Sweeney and Mr. Earl Henderson in those discussions. But it's been great so far.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have council comments to public?
I just need to announce the Youth Council is hosting their next Living Legends program on Thursday, February 20th. This is our young people's, they've won an award for this program. It's their attempt at telling the stories of the citizens of the City of Ringgold while they're still living. And it just is a great way to connect generations and also to our city. It's a free event to anybody who wants to come. You don't have to be from the City of Ringgold. And this coming Living Legends, we are featuring Jesse Thornton and Joy Thornton. And it's gonna dabble in a lot of different topics, but they have a lot to share with the community. So hopefully people will come out and support our young people. 6:30.
At the depot?
It's at 6 o'clock at the depot. I look at the poster. And the kids, they take this on. They host it, they moderate it, they create the posters for it. They have pre-meetings about it. It's a really fantastic program. And so the last one was with Ken Poston, talking about his book, and also had Alvin Ridley there. And this one is Jesse and Joy Thornton, and the next one is going to be featuring an NFL player that graduated from Ringgold High School. So these kids can get people here and get them to agree to be interviewed, basically, that none of us would be able to. Yeah. So hopefully they will have good support that night.
Okay. Anyone else? It's my understanding we do have something for executive session. Kelly, do you mind?
Mr. Mayor, for the purpose of personnel, land acquisition, potential litigation, move to go to executive session.
Second.
Got a motion and second, all in favor? It's unanimous 4.
Oh, thank you. We've been through a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, special education bus fund.
Sorry, you okay?
My husband, we're from New Jersey. He drove a school bus for 16 and a half years. And out of the 16 and a half, 4 and a half were regular, 12 years at special education. And we went on to also 20 children to university. We're down to 6,000. I know all about special education.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I bus 350. Right now, I start combining 350 and 358. They're shorter drivers. Mechanics came out this week, driving buses because they do drive. Only wasn't probably hired to do it. We're grateful they do that because they're trying to get rid of all our state protections inspection that's going on. So I used to be on the bus 2 hours in the morning, I'm now on 3. It's 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, we go to the executive session. I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys. Well, she asked me about that. The retreat being paid for. She said she texted me instantly, but I didn't see anything from her. But I saw I got 2 emails. I told her before, and nothing was filled out.